What do Tiger Woods and Mozart have in common? How can you achieve peak performance? And do you need to have talent to reach the top? In this video, I'm gonna explain it all. Hey, it's Filip from Habit Bootcamps, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about how to achieve peak performance, about the value of hard work, and more specifically, the value of deliberate practice. Oftentimes when we see people at the top, we think that they had talent and they had genius. But I'm going to give you some examples about people that you think that they were geniuses, but we don't know the story how they actually ended up at the top. Now let's take a look at Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. He started playing only when he was 7 years old. Leopold, Mozart's father, discovered that Mozart had an incredible interest in music already at the age of 4. He was so absorbed, so focused, and so interested in learning music. As he got older, he displayed more and more of his talents and had a higher level of expertise than any musician before. He continued to make masterpieces, and you might not know it, but he died at a very early age of 35. People say that it must have been divine talent that Mozart started playing in front of audiences at the age of 7. But what they don't realize is that Leopold was a teacher. The first major masterpiece of Mozart only was there when he was 14. Still spectacular, but 14. And Leopold has been teaching Mozart ever since the age of 4. So that's 10 years of teaching before he had his first piece of music that was highly regarded. That's 10 years of practice. Now let's also take a look at Tiger Woods. He got his first clubber at the age of 7 months and he started hitting the balls from the age of 2. His dad, Earl Woods, saw that his son was really interested and passionate about golf, and he started having professional golf teachers starting from the age of 4. Tiger had a natural desire to be like the man he admired the most, his father. So with a lot of practice and willpower, he started improving his skills as early as the age of 4. So when we take a look at Mozart and Tiger Woods, we often say they were geniuses and they had a lot of talent. But what we don't take a look at is all those years of practicing, more than 10 years of deliberately practicing. Great men like these aren't born, they are made. And they are made through the process of deliberate practice. This is also what Geoff Colvin talks about in his book Talent is Overrated. All these world-class performers have something in common, which means they practice deliberately. Not just practicing, not only putting in the hours, but a specific, well-defined set of activities that they do over a very long period of time. So deliberate practice is not just hard work. We know plenty of people who work hard but don't get anywhere. And the answer is not also experience, because you can be working for a very long time and have a lot of experience, but that doesn't mean that you are a master in your field. It's not what most of us think, which is a practice makes perfect kind of mindset. What we need to achieve peak performance is deliberate practice. Let's take a look at what deliberate practice is and what its traits are. There are 5 specific elements of deliberate practice. Number 1, deliberate practice is designed specifically to improve performance. Number 2, deliberate practice is sequential. Number 3, deliberate practice provides feedback on a continual basis. Number 4, deliberate practice can be repeated a lot. And number 5, deliberate practice is highly demanding mentally and isn't so much fun. So let's delve deeper into each 5 of these. Number 1, deliberate practice is designed specifically to improve performance. The key word in this definition is designed. It is designed so we're continually stretching a person to his or her capabilities and abilities. This might sound obvious, but often we keep on doing what we've done before without stretching ourselves. So we want to identify certain elements of the performance we wish to improve and then work intently on them. Rather than working on what you're already good at, it also makes you work on what you're not currently good at. So what top performers do is they break down their skill into sharply defined elements, and then they work on one specific skill, one specific element they wish to improve and that they need the most. During the practice, they only focus on this one single aspect and they keep on working on that one single aspect until they finally improved it, and then they move on to the next important one to work on. This is also why often a teacher is useful, because he can help you break down the skill into certain specific elements. Number 2, deliberate practice is sequential. So you work on this one specific element of a skill you wish to improve, and you only move on to the next one once you feel you mastered that specific aspect of the skill. So you're only going to move on to the next aspect of a skill when you feel that the specific aspect you've been working on has significantly improved. Number 3, deliberate practice provides feedback on a continual basis. Constant feedback is crucial for improvement. You want to get feedback to see if the things you're doing are working or are not working. That is often also why a mentor or a teacher is important, because they can see things that you can't see, and you constantly want to see if the things you are doing are the most optimal way to do things or you should change them. So the more feedback you get, the more you know if you're on the right track or not. Number 4, deliberate practice can be repeated a lot. Remember, it takes a lot of time. Even Mozart had to work for 10 years to become great. A good set point to keep in mind is that it takes at least 10 years or 10,000 hours to become exceptional in something. This is also the conclusion of researcher Anders Ericsson, who went to the Berlin Academy of Music, and he divided the violin players into 3 groups: the stars, the good performers, and the people who were not really good enough but probably could become music teachers. He asked the question, over the course of years, ever since they started picking up the violin, how many hours have they been practicing? He found out that the stars, the top performers, performed more than 10,000 hours. Nobel Prize winning psychologists Herbert Simon and William Chase also came to the conclusion with chess players that they needed to have practiced at least 10 years before becoming world class. So there are no shortcuts to success. If you want to be the best man or woman you can be, it takes a commitment of years of repeated and deliberate practice. Number 5, deliberate practice is highly demanding mentally and isn't so much fun. Just as in productivity is about doing what we have to do whether we feel like it or not, reaching peak performance is also a matter of being committed and doing things that we don't feel like doing or they're not so much fun. Deliberate practice is so taxing mentally that often we have an upper limit of about 4 or 5 hours. And we can best work in intermittent bursts of about 60 to 90 minutes. It's also something that Anders Ericsson found out in his study in the Berlin Academy of Music, that the top performers really needed a lot more rest. The top performers slept more at night and they took more naps during the day. So it seems that the top performers work more intensely, but they also need more rest and sleep to recover. And deliberate practice is not so much fun. Instead of only doing what we're good at, it also means working on the things that we're not good at. If it would be easy, everybody would do it, but deliberate practice isn't so much fun. That's where there only are a couple of world-class performers. When we see great performers doing what they do, often it strikes us that they've been practicing so long, they've been doing it so many times, it almost seems automatic. But in fact, what they have achieved is actually by avoiding to do it automatically. Constantly trying to do things that one cannot do comfortably is the essence of deliberate practice. These best top performers are not setting goals based on an outcome, but are setting goals based on a process that will lead to the outcome. So as a conclusion, let me give 6 lessons you can learn from the value of deliberate practice. Lesson number 1, exceptional talent is a matter of focused practice over time. It's not the shortcut to success and that you have talent and then you don't have to practice anymore. No, it takes a lot of hours and a lot of focused, deliberate, specific, hard work, but then you can reach exceptional levels. Do not use following your dreams as an excuse to not work hard. Following your dreams correctly is nothing but hard work. The notion that you need to be a genius or have natural talent to excel at something is a myth. Lesson number 2, there is a blueprint you can follow to get talented. I've given you the 5 elements of deliberate practice to develop the ability to be exceptional in any field. If you use these 5 elements, you can really be efficient and effective in the field and the skill you're practicing. Lesson number 3, you can develop talent and expertise in any discipline. Realize that one developed talent is worth a lot more than 10 average skills. And also that meta talent of you committing to something, doing a repeated, deliberate practice, being focused, being committed to it, Working on something that isn't fun and doing something, whether you feel like it or not, is a really important skill. You're really thinking long term that if I will do this consistently, I will be able to really reach a high level of performance and skill. Lesson number 4, developing talent is hard work. Realize that all these top performers, all these geniuses also have put in a lot of hours and a lot of hard work. It takes at least 10,000 hours or 10 years to really become exceptional in something. To put this into perspective, if you would be practicing 3 hours a day, it would take you 9 years to reach the 10,000 hour mark. If you want quality, you need a lot of quantity. So you need discipline, perseverance, dedication, willpower, commitment to stay on track and look at it in the long run. Realize that there's only a chosen few who decide to dedicate themselves to really becoming exceptional. But realize that just knowing this will put off a lot of your competitors. So if you just commit and dedicate to this, you will be one of the chosen few. Lesson number 5. You don't have to get to the virtuoso level to outrank your competitor. How many people are willing to practice more than 3 hours a day for more than 9 years? Or are willing to put in more than 10,000 hours? Not a lot of people are willing to have this commitment and really stay focused on this specific deliberate practice. So if you're really gonna choose to develop this skill and this expertise, you will set yourself apart. So you don't even have to practice 3 hours a day. But if you're really practicing a certain amount of time over a very long period of time, you will set yourself apart. You only need a moderate increase in your deliberate practice to really outrank your competitors. And lesson number 6, those who only read don't improve, but those who implement, grow and thrive. It's about deliberate practice. It's about applied knowledge. It's about doing the things, not just knowing things. So the people who are just reading a lot of books, but they're not deliberately practicing or practicing at all, they will know a lot, but they will not get anywhere. You want to apply the information as fast as possible. Else it will just be something that you know and it is stuck in your head, but you won't be living or experiencing it or actually improving that skill in real life. Now don't get me wrong, it won't guarantee that you will become a master at what you do. It just means that whatever your inborn ability or talent is, with deliberate practice, hard work, focused repetitions, doing something that you have to do whether you feel like it or not, if you do this consistently, you can become really good at any skill or ability. Oftentimes we only see the end result of geniuses performing and we think, oh, it's so easy, but what we don't realize that behind all that seemingly easy and top class performance, there have been years of deliberate practice and learning. That practice will often be long, hard and boring. But if you keep on committing to that process, you can become really good. So here is to practicing, doing something consistently, which is also what habits are all about. And what productivity is all about. Doing what you have to do, whether you feel like it or not. If you develop this ability and skill to really do something consistently, repeat it, get feedback, work on specific aspects, really think in the long run, that's a meta skill you will develop that has a lot of value to cultivate: commitment, willpower, self-discipline, self-control. So this is the magic of deliberate practice and a realistic view on how you become really good at any ability or any skill. Think about some skill or one aspect of a skill you could become really good at. Think of the 5 traits of deliberate practice. Put in 10,000 hours or more than 10 years. It might sound a lot, but time flies by pretty fast when you get older. So if you do this diligently and consistently, you will be amazed at what kind of levels of skill and ability you can reach. With the right focus, commitment, dedication, repeated deliberate actions each day, we can achieve peak performance. Hey, it's Phil from Habit Bootcamps, and if you like my channel, don't forget to subscribe and check out some more videos about how to overcome laziness, procrastination, and do more in less time.